Um, this session in this presentation is all about VAPT, that is Vulnerability Assessment and Pen Testing, and it is presented by myself, that is Waqas Ahmed Faroouqi. So I would request and I would suggest that the section should be interactive, and if any one of you want to ask any question, just put me that question. Just do not hesitate. So hopefully, I'm hopeful that it will be a learning session for all of you. So starting with VAPT, now this is my introduction. My name is Waqas Ahmed Faroouqi. I have done OSWE, that is Offensive Security Web Expert Certification, OSCP, that is again Offensive Security Certification, CEH, the famous Certified Ethical Hacking. I have done Masters in Information Security. I have done Electrical Engineering, and more than 20 plus years of education and 12 plus year I am in the industry. And my specialty is Offensive Security, VAPT, Reckoning. So this is my core area. So let us start with the cybersecurity services. Uh, just before going into the VAPT, I want to introduce about this a step back, and that I want to show you what are the cybersecurity services. So the concept is very simple. Whenever a business moves from a paper work to an online business, so there comes cybersecurity. When any organization in the world who is running their online businesses, what is their problem? Their problem is cybersecurity. Uh, uh, so the problem, or you can say that cybersecurity starts with an online business. So this is the first point you have to understand. Any organization in the world, if they are doing online businesses, then it means that cybersecurity services are applicable on them. And if they want to provide their services without any interruption, without any hacking, with safety, they have to uh, pick up the cybersecurity services. Uh, Now we can think of no, we can think that cyber like you can think like this. For consider that you have an online business when you have a bank. You people have a bank and this is your online business, and people are using your mobile applications for the business. People are using your website for your businesses. People are using your cloud platforms for your business. So now you will consider yourself as a business owner. So you will think that okay, it is quite possible that may I will get an cyber incident. So you will think that okay, before that incident, I have to do some preemptive measures. I have to follow some precautions. Why? Because to avoid the cyber incident. So cybersecurity, there are different type of cybersecurity services. Some are applicable before incident and some are applicable after the incident. So I have arranged the services before incident and after incident. Just to give you an overview, then we will move into the VAPT, and then we will go to a specific service. So before the incident, you are the business owner, you have an online bank, you have the customers, you have the website, you have the customers have the website, customer have the application, and you are worried about hacking, cyber risk, and all that stuff. So what we will do, you can adopt the services. The first service is you see deployment of firewall, SIEM, SOC, DLP, EDR, AV, honey traps, etc. This is a blue team activity. You have, being a business owner, you have to place the guard in your IT infrastructure. You have to place firewalls in order to control the internet traffic. You have to deploy SIEM and SOC to monitor the cyber alerts that are constantly being targeted to your organization. You have to deploy DLP, like data loss prevention solutions, to avoid data leak. You have to deploy EDR, that is endpoint detection and response. So you have to deploy antivirus uh, in your host systems, in your servers. Why? Because of protection against viruses and all that uh, bad malwares and all that stuff. Honey traps are also used. Honey traps are used to trap uh, to make a trap for the attacker. So this is one service that you can pick up, and you must have to pick up before the incident. That is the blue teaming. That is, you have to uh, deploy the defense systems in your IT infrastructure. No, just moving forward, just imagine that in your bank you have deployed that all the IT stuff, IT infrastructure. Now the second problem that comes in your mind is that are these devices are properly configured? So there is another service that is configuration assessment. So you will then follow, or you will then adopt configuration assessment service. And but in this service, what you will get? the people will come in your organization. They will see your IT assets, they will see your firewall, they will see your endpoint, they will see your server, and they will check their configuration as per international standards. And one of the standard is CIS benchmark. And they will give you a report that your IT infrastructure is lacking as per the standard. Then the network team or development team can fix up these configuration issues. Then your configuration is at the top right position. So now, secondly, moving forward, what will do? What you will need? You will need policies. You will need procedures. So you have to consult cybersecurity governance service. In this service, at the end of the day, at the end of this service, what you will get, your organization will get the policy, the password policies, um, the HR, management of HR in the context of cybersecurity policies, and a lot of policies. And it is a big subject of cybersecurity governance. But at the end of the day, you will get the policies and procedures, and you will do some compliance processes. So this is another service which you will be required before the incident to run your business. Architecture review, very important services, IT infrastructure, just like homes in a town, IT infrastructure are different. Even different banks, although they are same, they are providing same services, but different banks have different IT infrastructure. And this is up to the designer who designs the architecture. So sometimes there is a flaw in architecture. So what people will do, the organizations will ask for the security experts and they will review their architecture and they will point out the flaws that this design is not right or with this design these risks get opened. So this is architecture review service. This is again a preemptive service that before going live, before running your businesses, you will do these services. Now comes the VAPT, that is vulnerability assessment and pen testing. So in this service, you will perform or a security member or security team will perform vulnerability assessment of your IT assets and identify the vulnerabilities and report them. Then relevant teams will fix that vulnerability. So this is a VAPT service. We will discuss this service in detail, but just I have given a short intro at this part of the slide. Now coming to the red team. Red team is also, you can say, it is just related to vulnerability assessment and pen testing, but there are differences between VAPT and red teaming. I will cover the differences in the next section of the slide. Now, social engineering, many people know you have just again just the same imagination. You have a bank that is running an online business. Now you have 100 employees. You want to be ensured that your employees doesn't get trapped by the hackers and the bad guys over the internet. So you want to test this cybersecurity awareness. So you will launch cyber social engineering campaigns. And what the engineers will do, what cyber engineers will do, they will plan a campaign and they will launch different type of attacks on your employee email addresses. And there are different ways of attacking. Like phishing is phishing is a process in a cyber engineer will send an email to the bank employees and see who clicks and what is the like end goal he can achieve with that phishing campaign. And wishing, there are different types of social engineering attacks, and you can call like bank employees and ask them to give your password. And there are different types of tricks. And this is another a big subject, but just for the sake of introduction, if you want to test your employee awareness, if you want to improve your employee awareness, then you can adopt social engineering service and threat modeling and simulation. But in this service, people, cyber engineers will develop threat models on your applications, your IT infrastructure, and they will show you that these are the risk avenues in your IT infrastructure. Attackers can get into from the WAN, attackers can get from the LAN, and they will see the threat, they will analyze the threat, and they will at the end of the day they will give you diagrams in which you can see the threats and you can see and you can plan your cyber security according to this as per the threat models that okay, this is the weak area, this is the weakest area, so okay, start with the weakest area. So with this threat model you can plan you can plan your cyber security activities and you can give priority to the cyber security services so that most weak part are given more priority as compared to the part that are little better. So this threat with this threat modeling, you get your threat dimensions and you will see you can prioritize your remediation activity. So this is like you are the business owner again. I will move this presentation just with an simulated example that you are a business owner of a bank, so that you can visualize and you can learn the concepts easily. So now you have invested, you have created a bank, you have all the IT infrastructure, you have done all the uh, before incident service, you have followed all the services and the system is running and people are doing coming onto your website, people are coming to your mobile application, they are doing transactions and you are earning money, business is running. Now what happens after all this effort? Sometimes some there are some weak part that are left into that process that allows an attacker to get into your machine. Now what happens? This is the second. This is this when you come into this stage after incident. So after incident, you can uh, go with digital forensic and incident investigation service. You can if you have a like if you have a cyber incident, maybe your data has been lost, maybe your data has been corrupted, so you can go with the service real forensic and incident investigation, and it's a similar service. It's like compromise assessment service. There are small difference between the services, but at this stage of the presentation, or you can say since the presentation is all about VAPT, so just to give an idea, these are the services that you can follow after an incident. So now, up till this point, I have created an imagination in your mind about cybersecurity services and uh, the service applies to which stage of your business life cycle. If you have any question in this part, you can ask. Then I will move further. Please do not
Okay.
hesitate to ask.
I have one question about this after incident. Compromise assessment. What is involved? Like,
Like uh, like I'm working in a service provider. People come to me and they said that. Um, I have an organization, I have an active directory, and what happened? Attacker compromised my systems, then they compromised active directory, and they have taken all the credentials of my users. So I want to see that this is. They will say that this is what we feel. So you will do the compromise assessment. So, but a cybersecurity engineer, he will go, he will analyze AD, he will see the logs from the AD server, he will see the logs from all the supporting network components that is in the IT, such as like firewall, like SOC, and he will, at the end of the day, he will say, okay, your ID has been compromised and your user credentials have been lost, or we can say that AD has been compromised, but user credentials, the loss of credentials have been blocked by DLP or some other solution. So he will uh, specify that the incident occurred at that place. This is confirmed, and the damage, the type of damage is in lies in that category. So then you can, and he will also suggest the remediation activity, and then after the remediation activity, you can fix that problem. So compromise assessment is like this. You can say that if a system is compromised, if an application is compromised, so you can ask for a compromise assessment service because a cybersecurity guy, only a cybersecurity guy can help you. Like if a person comes to a doctor, he says that he just gives hints to the doctor, I am feeling this, I am feeling this. But the investigation is up to the doctor. He investigates the issue, he investigates the problem, and he suggests the medicine. Similarly, any bank will come to a cybersecurity team and they will just give hints that this has happened and this has happened. So on basis of this hint, the engineer will identify that either which system has been compromised or maybe there are chain of systems that have been compromised. So this is done by a cybersecurity guy who understands the technology and he will identify, okay, one server has been compromised or multiple servers have been compromised. And after the compromise, what has happened? Maybe users have been created into that Linux machine or Windows machine. Maybe sensitive data has been leaked. Maybe sometimes attackers do they encrypt your sensitive files. So they this is the part that will under the compromise assessment, and this is how it will this is how it will follow.
okay, clear, clear. Thank you for the explanation. Okay.
Okay, thank you. So now VAPT. VAPT, this is one of the very famous services that these days Any organization selling anything online cannot survive without this VAPT service. Since I am invested a lot of years in this service, and I know that this service has a lot of learning curve, a deep learning curve. So these you have like as an engineer, you have to learn a lot of things considering multiple IT infrastructure, multiple assets, right? So VAPT is a very, I just want to highlight that VAPT is a very important service that cannot be neglected in all of the cybersecurity services. Secondly, what is the purpose of VAPT? VAPT is used to identify the vulnerabilities in your IT assets. Being a banking owner, being an IT engineer, being a network engineer, you don't know what are the services in your routers, what are the sorry, what are the vulnerabilities in your router, what are the vulnerabilities in your web application until you get hacked and then you got and you knew that okay these are the vulnerabilities. So with VAPT, you can identify vulnerabilities in your IT products like firewalls, routers, websites, web APIs, all the IT infrastructure components. You will identify the vulnerabilities. This is the purpose of VAPT service. Now, one thing I want to specify, uh, this specifically VAPT, with the service in cybersecurity, is in this field, in this area, it lacks standardization. And what happens that if there is no standard or this, if a field lacks standard, what happens that a field with with us with like with one name, different people call this same field with different names. Like customer come to us, someone is telling that I need vulnerability assessment, someone is telling that I need pen testing, someone is telling that I need vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. Some people come, they call that I need ethical hacking. Some people call I need offensive security services. So at the moment, currently uh, at the like now I'm giving presentation at this time. Even at that time, there is a lack of standardization in this area. That is why a same service is being recalled with different names. So I want to clear your concept that do not confuse. They all these all names are just are same just the same cybersecurity service, but in a small difference I will tell. But vulnerability assessment, penetration testing, vulnerability assessment and penetration testing, ethical hacking, offensive security, these are all almost this is the same service. Uh, so they do not confuse these names because there's a lack of standardization. So people call same thing with different names. So they are calling same thing with different names. So secondly, uh, at end of at last one you see vulnerability assessment versus penetration testing. That is explicitly I have written. Why? Because there is a small difference between vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. Okay, just want to clarify this concept to you. Uh, just we can pick up an example. You know, you are a business bank owner and you have a website. So you engage me and ask me to do a vulnerability assessment of your web application. Then what I will do, I will identify vulnerability, and in that process, I have identified a SQL injection vulnerability. But what I will do, I will not exploit that vulnerability and extract the information from the database because you asked me to do vulnerability assessment. Okay. Now you ask me to do penetration testing. So uh, of the same application. Now I will test the same application, and if I find a SQL injection vulnerability, then I will exploit that vulnerability and try to extract some information from the database and present it in front of you as an evidence. So this is a difference between vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. And what is happening in the industry, a lot of customers, they come to us, they want penetration testing, but they are telling us that we need vulnerability. So is coming that okay, some people come and uh, so they are mixing different things. But for you people, I want to clarify that if any if you want that service, you should be clear. If you want a vulnerability assessment service, then you must be clear in your mind that cybersecurity engineer will identify the vulnerability, but he will not exploit the vulnerability. This is vulnerability assessment. And if you want penetration testing, it means that you want vulnerability assessment as well, and you want to exploit the vulnerabilities, and you want to see the damage of these vulnerabilities. So this is a difference. So normally people have a confusion, customers have a confusion. but we know our field and we guide them that okay, you want vulnerability assessment or pen testing. If now vulnerability assessment coming to this is just a scanning of vulnerability. Penetration testing is scanning plus exploitation, and vulnerability assessment and pen testing and penetration testing just the same thing because after vulnerability assessment there is penetration testing. So vulnerability assessment and penetration testing or penetration testing. These both of these means that you have to do vulnerability assessment and then you have to do the exploitation. Ethical hacking is just the same thing. It is a vague word. It is a very vague word. The correct words are vulnerability assessment or penetration testing, but it is a vague word. People use it. They want to take either. If people come for ethical hacking, they are looking for either vulnerability assessment or either penetration testing. Then, as a engineer, we guide them. What do you want? So, ethical hacking is just a vague word. Offensive security is just a broad word. Under that offensive security, uh, it means that you attempt to penetrate the system and find the vulnerability, exploit the vulnerability. So, all the same words, and these are not standardized. Different people have different people ask them with different names, but do not worry. If you are a cybersecurity engineer, then you have to clarify the customer that you want to work vulnerability assessment or pen testing. And if you are a banking owner, then you should be clear what service do you want. At this presentation, I want to clarify this is very important from both perspectives, from cybersecurity service provider perspective and the company which is taking cybersecurity services. So for both of them, I think this is they should be clear what they want and they should have a clear communication. So in this presentation, in this part of the slide, if anyone has confusion, can ask me. Uh, I will be very happy to answer your question. Okay, I think it is clear for everyone. Let us move forward. This is very simple. Like, uh, what is the scope of VAPT? Uh, the scope of VAPT could be web applications, could be web APIs, could be mobile application. You know, mobile application on Android and iOS. So it could be Android, it could be iOS, and in scope as it could be networks. And under the umbrella of networks, you can have firewall, you can have routers, you can have access points, even you can have uh, uh, anything related to this network area, which is under the umbrella of VAPT. And workstations, very simple. In an organization, there are workstations, maybe Windows, maybe Linux, and there are servers as well. And they could be Windows or Linux as well. So, uh, the VAPT service, if you are thinking that VAPT service is applicable to which type of assets, almost every asset in an IT infrastructure. Every component that is being used to run an online business uh, lies under the umbrella of PGP. Almost everything. We have tested Web 100 application, APIs, mobile application, network devices, lot of network devices, and workstation and servers. Um, so even cloud infrastructures are also in like assets of PAPT. So this is the target area that is in the scope of PAPT. So I think it is easy to understand that it's move forward. PAPT outcome. This is very important point. Sometimes people think that after we will do a VPT, we will only get security vulnerabilities. But they miss one very important thing. At the end of the VAPT, you can get security vulnerabilities as well, and you can get security misconfigurations as well. So, at the end of the day, after every VAPT process, we get vulnerabilities and we get misconfiguration. I will give an explanation in the next slide, but just want to clarify the outcome of VAPT. You can get vulnerability and you can get misconfiguration as well. If someone has any question in this, I can clarify. If you are not clear about vulnerability and misconfiguration, you can ask the question. So this is important point to be clarified.
You can, sorry, if you can just يعني, tell us the difference.
Yeah, just okay. Like for example, if there is a web application uh, and it is interacting with a database, it is quite possible that application may have SQL injection vulnerability. That is vulnerability. And misconfiguration means that it is a web application and there is a user with username admin, but password has not been configured. So this is a misconfiguration. there is no vulnerability in it. Application is safe, but the application maybe application admin, the person who is managing the application, he has created 10 users without password. So that this is nothing to do with the vulnerability. This is the misconfiguration that
What's this?
so it is clear.
Yes, clear. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Okay, now VAPT, just want to you will be thinking, okay, what is the methodology of VAPT? Although it is a deep subject, but if I want to give an overview, this is the overview. You see, initially, a phase is called enumeration, that is information gathering of the asset. Then it is vulnerability assessment. Then it is vulnerability exploitation. Then the next phase is privilege escalation. But just give you an overview of these uh, 4 points. So information and before just I want to clarify one more thing is that this methodology is a generic methodology. Enumeration techniques for web applications is different for mobile application. Enumeration techniques are different for network devices. Enumeration techniques are different for operating systems. So there is not this is like you cannot say that the word enumeration is enumeration to get gather information, but as soon as the assets categories change, enumeration techniques and tools are being changed. So this is an important point to understand. There is not a not a single technique or not a single tool that can cover all categories of IP assets. No, this is not right actually. Enumeration of every asset is done in a different way. Secondly, vulnerability assessment. So vulnerability assessment in which you identify vulnerabilities. And the techniques for vulnerability assessment for different assets are different. And the tools are also different as well. We will see the tools at the later part, but just want to clarify that this is a generic methodology that you can see all over the internet. But the point to understand is that under vulnerability assessment, if you are doing it for web application, techniques will be different. If you are doing for mobile application, techniques and tools will be different. And vulnerability assessment means identify the vulnerability. Exploitation means to exploit that vulnerability. Just the example I gave that if in a website you identify SQL injection vulnerability, that is identification. Now exploitation means you exploit the vulnerability, you access the database, and this is the exploitation of the vulnerability. Now privilege escalation. Privilege escalation. Just try to understand this concept as well. Privilege escalation means that a user, for example, just give you an example that if just going back to a bank to, in this bank they have a website. Now if you are a user of that website, maybe your name is ABC. Now if you log in into that website, it is quite possible that can you can from due to a vulnerability you can escalate your privileges, and from ABC user you can move into the admin user as well. So this is called privilege escalation. So this is the broad uh, overview of video escalation. You like if you see video escalation in web applications, in mobile applications, in workstations, there's a all are different components. So they are little different with each other. But the concept is that privilege for privilege escalation, you can escalate your privileges, and being a limited user, you can move into that user with high level privileges. And this is if you test your web application, if you adopt VAPT service, then at the end of the day you can get, okay, I have a web application, and it is a vulnerability. There is a vulnerability in the web application, and due to that vulnerability, any user can get the admin level privileges. And now just consider the impact. Consider the banking application. I am a customer of your bank. So if I log in with my account, Waqas, and if I can escalate the privileges to an admin user, then maybe I can access accounts of all other users. So privilege escalation is very dangerous, and this if you want to identify the avenues of privilege escalation in your IT assets, then you have to adopt the VAPT service. So VAPT services will all every type of VAPT service will go through this life cycle, and with different type of access, there are different types of tools and there are different type of techniques. So if you are like if you have any questions on this broad methodology of VAPT, so you can I will be happy to answer these questions. To clear on value escalation, to clear on exploitation assessment. Okay, then we will move forward. Not the same point I have explained previously, that methodology and tools correlation. Because why I have made this slide, because people coming to us and they say, okay, what tool you use for VAPT? People think that there is a single tool or two tools, that if you have this tool in your hand, then you can do all types of VAPT and the VAPT is over. So I want to just, because this question, a lot of people ask me this question, that is why I have made this sheet for you. So I have written, you see, enumeration, information gathering. Okay, these are done with manual techniques as well and automated tool as well. So enumeration, just think of a web application and just think you want to do the enumeration, right? Then for enumeration, you will be using manual techniques as well. And for enumeration, you will be using automated tools as well. So it is not a single tool that will do the complete enumeration for you, and there will be not a single manual technique that will serve your purpose. Using manual techniques and automated tools, you will achieve a good enumeration. And similarly, for vulnerability assessment, there are manual techniques as well and automated tool as well. And exploitation and threat escalation, for all these phases, there are manual techniques and there are automated tools as well. So just to clarify, that enumeration is not do not think of enumeration of web application is a tool. You will press a button and you will get the enumeration. This is not the way. For enumeration of a web application, you have to do lot of manual work and you will definitely be using automated tool. So with both of combination of uh, these, you can get a good VAPT assessment. So this is methodology versus tools correlation. And again, if the type of asset is changed, techniques will be different and tools will be different. This is the same point I have already explained, that you see, innovation information gathering. I have written different tools and techniques, web application, mobile application, and networks. Like if you are doing VAPT web application, tools and techniques will be different. For mobile applications, it will be different, and for networks, it will be different. So this complete VAPT life cycle is different. Like tools and techniques for this process are different for each type of asset. So this point is clear. If it is clear, I can move forward. Just think 5 seconds on this. If you have any question, just ask me.
Yes, one question. So for vulnerability exploitation, is it similar to that ethical hacker when يعني, when a hack try to exploit a vulnerability?
Uh, exactly, vulnerability. That is very right. Vulnerability exploitation. Uh, Like for example, if you are an organization, you hire a proper service to do it for you, and this is one category of the work, and some and other chances that a hacker try to exploit your systems. So if I am a hacker and I am doing it illegally, or if I am a cybersecurity engineer and doing it legally for you, if I am doing exploitation for any of your IT asset, I will be coming from this stage: information gathering, vulnerability assessment, vulnerability exploitation, threat escalation. So, uh, if you listen any news about exploitation, so if it done by a hacker or your internal team or your external team, this is the process: enumeration, vulnerability assessment, vulnerability exploitation. And if it has escalated your privileges, then it may be privilege escalation as well. So, hacker, if the, any either I have a white hat or a black hat. If I am doing exploitation or hacking, I will be going through this life cycle. Anyone doing it legally, illegally, black hat, white hat will be going through this life cycle.
Okay, clear.
I hope I
Yes,
answered
clear.
the question right. Okay.
Yes, yes, yes. Because at the beginning I thought it's different methods, but okay, it's a life cycle. It started from information gathering, ending with privilege escalation, like that, right?
Yes, yes. It is a complete life cycle. It is uh, because
Yes.
yes, exactly. It is a complete life cycle. Everyone on the internet. either it is your internal team, either your external team, or hackers, they are following this life cycle. It is not possible without vulnerability assessment. These are the 1, 2, 3, 4 steps. All if you see, if you listen a damage, if you listen an exploit in your organization, you should be clear that this is the process that is being followed by anyone or hacker, either hacker or your internal team, cybersecurity team, or external cybersecurity team. But this is the process they will follow. And but the news is like this, that they have exploited the system. So from that news, people can get that understanding of, okay, some exploitation. But this is a life cycle. This is just like a cooking up of a food, and it is like stages. So
Thank you.
okay, let us move forward. Now, this is very important for you as well, because working in the industry for so many years, I see people are confused. They are asking, they need a different service and asking it with a different name. So we tell them, okay, we after discussion we clarify them. So I want to share that knowledge with you as well. So VAPT and rating, there's a lot of confusion in between VAPT and rating. So I want to clarify on this with a very simple example. You see, I have written VAPT is a general assessment of in-scope assets, and red team is a goal-oriented assessment of in-scope assets. Okay, just I will explain in a very simple way. Consider you have a web application of your bank. You want uh, what you want that I want to find all the vulnerabilities in the web application, and you will hire me, or then I will do a VAPT service for you, and I will list all the vulnerabilities. These are high, critical, medium, and this is what we have identified. Now, just consider that, okay, you have a different requirement. You want that, okay, I'm a business owner. I am not hired, but I have a salary record of my employees. That is very important for me. So I want to engage you and just want to know that if in my IT infrastructure, can any insider, my employee can get this salary information of other employees from that server. I want to know the answer of this question. So this is basically a red team. So this will be a red team activity. This is a goal-oriented assessment. So in order to get the information from that servers, maybe you have to compromise few other servers, then pivot them. Then from that server you can have that server. You can adopt any techniques, but at the end of the day, customer is looking to answer a fear that is in his heart, that either I am safe on this or not safe on this. So I've given example of example of an AD, because AD is a very critical component in IT infrastructure. All the user credentials are saved in that server, AD server. So maybe a business owner, maybe your bank owner will want that. I want to know that my users credentials are safe. I'm just worried about on this, that either my user credentials are safe or not. So then they will ask, this is a goal-oriented assessment. So what we will do, we will try to penetrate from all possible sides. If it is a web server, it doesn't. Maybe I will use different techniques. Maybe I will use uh, uh, social engineering techniques to trap the employees and then hack their system, and then from that system try to move into try to hack the AD server as well. So red team is a goal-oriented assessment, and it allows you to pick up a lot of techniques. But VAPT is a generic assessment of vulnerabilities, and this is a very uh, like this. You can see the tools and techniques for both the services are almost same, but the customer requirements are different. So these two services, you can say that as per customer requirement, these two could be two different services. Customer could be looking for general assessment, and customer could be looking for specific threats, specific attack vectors, specific risks you want to see. So this is the difference between VAPT and rating. And if there is any issue in this, if you want to clarify, please ask. Okay, I think it is clear. You have gone through the slide. Okay, move to the next slide. Now, now we will move into the specific part. Like I have told you that VAPT could be done for web applications, VAPT could be done for mobile applications, routers, firewalls, network devices, workstation servers. So this part is dealing with web applications. Now, this is a very important slide, web application stack. So I want that you all should be focused on this slide, because uh, being in the industry, I see where people are lagging. So I want to clarify their concept. You know, in a web application is not an independent entity. A web, if you are a user and you are using a web application, or you are using a website like Facebook, at the end of at in the eyes of the user, it is just a simple page and he is browsing. But at the back end, at in the premises of a Facebook, as Facebook, there could be a data center, there could be multiple servers, and all the IT infrastructure must be deployed there. So, uh, uh, in this presentation, I want to clarify that web application is not an independent entity. uh, it has a front end and a back end. Front end is an HTML code, a JavaScript code that the people see in their browsers and they browse the application. If you can right click on a web page and type page source, just select page source, then you can see the page source on that page you are seeing. But there is a back end code as well that is running on a server. So web application is like this, and web applications run on a web server. Uh, Maybe it could be IIS, it could be Apache, but application is running on a web server, and application is using database as well. You see, web application database. Ab- These days, almost all web applications use a database, and database could be MySQL, MS SQL, NoSQL as well. So this is another component of web application. And web application server, that is very important. Very important. Sorry for typo. It is not weak. It is web. Web application server means that website is not running on air. Website is running all these websites, web applications running on a server, a Windows machine and a Linux machine. So like I just want you all people to think you're as a website developer, or you can say that, and maybe uh, admin team that is responsible to make an infrastructure. So what you will do, you will pick up a server, you will install an operating system, Windows and Linux. That part is over. Then you will install web server on that Windows or Linux machine. Depends upon the type of the application, but leave it at this moment. You will install an operating system on the server that is Windows or Linux. You will install a web server on that Windows or Linux machine, and you will install that web server on that Windows machine. And if these components are ready, then in a directory there is a directory to that is in the file system of Windows or Linux, in which you place your web application. And when you place your application on that folder, then it could be accessible to the people. And there are a lot of other things as well. Web application is not a single entity. Web application is basically multiple components. Consider web application as a source code, front end code, back end code. Consider it as a piece of code. It could be in PHP, it could be in ASP, it could be in any programming language. And the application must be running on a web server. It could be IIS or Apache. It is installed on Windows or Linux machine, and there must be a database that could be MySQL, MS SQL. And you want to, if you are a banking owner and if you want that your application should be secure, then you have to consider the security of all the components. I see people coming, they asking, okay, we want security assessment, pen testing of our web application, and they just think the first point, this web application is just the front end code and the back end code. What happened? They installed a web server that is an iOS old version. So you don't attacker doesn't have to compromise the application. Attacker can compromise the web server, and application gets automatically compromised. So it is every component is important. It is Every component is equally important if you want to secure your web application. So if uh, you are a bank owner, if you are on the other side, like if you are not a pen tester, if you want a pen test service, then you should be clarified that I should be looking for web application as well, web server as well, web application database as well, and web application server as well. I have to see all these components, and if all these components are at the right security level, then you can think that application is the right security level. So I want to clarify this concept, that is I see in a lot of people, they only think of web application that is the front end code in HTML, JavaScript, and a back end code that may be any language, and PHP, maybe it could be C sharp, maybe it could be Java. So This is the concept that is very important to understand. So now, if you have any question on this application stack and have any confusion, you can ask me, and I will be happy to answer. Just think over it, just few seconds. Think all the applications in the world you use on daily basis or you do not use are are running on are is a basically a stack of different components. So for an end user, there is no problem. If you are a business owner, you want to secure your application, then you should be knowing this all these components. And if you are a penetration tester or security engineer, then in this role also you should be clear on all these components, and you will see all these components in your VAPT uh, cycle.